everyone, and welcome to the Advanced Manufacturing Expo here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today I'm here with Danielle Schneider, and I'm very excited to be talking to her about her career in engineering and what she's doing for the shops and all the people, women in manufacturing as well. So Danielle, thanks so much for being with us.
No problem.
And I'm going to let you open it up and tell us a little bit about you and how you got started in manufacturing.
Okay, so my background is in education, is in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
I went to Michigan Tech. Love engineering, love being creative, and I kind of just fell into manufacturing. It was a call from a friend. She's like, do you want my old job? It's kind of fun. It's in research and development. And I'm like, sure. And that was 11 plus years ago, and I jumped right into manufacturing. And it's been a whirlwind ever since. I work at Pridgeon Clay. We are a metal stamping operation.
Yeah.
We do metal car parts and assemblies, weldments, and we ship them all over the world.
And with the company that you're working for, you're in an engineering position right now,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Okay. What is kind of your role at the shop?
I like to call it a Jane of all trades.
I love that. I love that.
I have a shirt for it. I'm an applications engineer, and I work with our sales team to make sure parts are manufactured for our customers, and if they're not, we go back and talk with our customers, redesign things that work for them and for us to make them, and then we make sure we have the right process quoted or we have the right equipment in our shop as well. And that's my main job, but they come to me and our team in advanced engineering for different things every day to solve different problems. So it's kind of fun. I don't plan my days anymore because they're going to go differently every time. So
You just never know.
You never know. It's fun. It keeps me on my toes. So I enjoy it.
That's awesome. And I want to go back to how you said that you fell into manufacturing. So many women have the same story. I wanted to be an attorney, and then somehow I ended up in manufacturing, right? It's like, how the heck, where did that cross? You know, people ask me all the time. So when you were growing up, were you always interested in being creative and building things and stuff like that? You always had an interest in engineering?
Yeah.
Or was there like a shift?
First, it was just being creative, and I liked, my grandmother owned a flower shop, and we did flower arranging and stuff like that, and just being creative like that. And then in high school, I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
And like, you know, something more creative.
Yeah.
And then I realized that that's probably not really where I am, because I am a little bit of a tomboy, and I did like figuring out how things worked.
Okay.
And then I took a class in high school that was called AutoCAD. It was more for like civil engineers, and I really wanted to figure out how things moved and how to do different things. So I would say high school is really when I realized I wanted to be an engineer.
So I've been working with some schools, some different high schools that have manufacturing programs, and I'm hearing a lot more that people want to get into engineering, which is so exciting. Like, I love hearing that. I'm in marketing, but I am always pushing every trade in manufacturing, whether it's from the office or you're on the floor or you're designing things or sales, whatever it may be. But I just think it's interesting, this recent push that we've had for STEM.
Mm-hmm.
And two things. One, I liked how you talked about fashion, because a lot of girls, they go to school, especially like, and I'm from Ohio, so in Ohio we have some schools that are kind of known a little bit more for their fashion programs.
Yep.
And girls always say they want to get into fashion because they're creative and they want to put things together. I guess, I know you kind of answered it already, but I want you to talk a little bit more about where did fashion, like when you said, okay, I want to be in fashion because I want to make things, I want to create things, when did you finally like realize it was like, oh, I could take that skill and put it in engineering? Was it that auto class?
Kind of, yeah, because like I did a book report or something in an English class about fashion design, and then I'm like, well, that doesn't really use all my skills, because I really liked math and science too, and I was good at them.
Yes.
And then I saw that class, and I was like, oh, let's give that a shot, and that's kind of like where I fell into engineering and design and all that stuff. And like, I went to school for engineering, but I also got a minor in product design. Okay. And that's where I get to be creative, because the product that's in front of you, say this plant, I know you can't manufacture a plant, you can grow it, but like designing something new that will work for your customer and for your process is just fun. Like, I have a customer that I repeatedly work with and have weekly meetings with. They'll bring me a new product and like, what do you think about this? Well, if you tweak this over here and tweak this over here, we can make it. If you don't, you got to go down a different avenue than metal. But normally we come to some sort of agreement, and then it's kind of cool to see those products that you helped redesign and manufacture. I actually get to see them driving down the road now. So
that is neat.
They're on garbage trucks.
Hey, but you know what? I need that in this
Garbage
world, right?
and semi-trucks is where most of my parts end up, and I get to see them, and it's just like a full circle moment, so it's kind of fun.
That's really neat. Sometimes I feel like manufacturing is one of the only industries that the work that you put in, you actually see it in a real form, like you're saying, driving down the road, on the garbage truck, on the semis, in a airplane, in a car, whatever it might be. So I think it's really neat when I hear people that are in engineering talk about like the pride that you probably have behind that has to be very...
Yeah, because actually my mom and stepdad own a trucking business.
Oh my God.
So I've been around semi-trucks my whole life, and to see them have parts that I have helped create is just full circle, and it's like a proud moment.
It's rewarding, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so kind of circling back to when I was saying a lot of people are wanting to get into engineering right now, which is awesome. One thing that I've also been hearing about engineering from the students is they don't really have what the expectations are. You know, it's very difficult. I mean, I'm sure it's very difficult getting through school and keeping the grades up and doing all those things. Do you want to talk about kind of your experience going through school as engineering and any advice to the younger generation on, you know, hey, here's what to expect when you get into engineering, or how you even got into it, like how you got into that college?
So this is actually twofold, because I loved my experience as college.
Okay.
And I knew that's what I was going to do because I was very studious and I loved it, and it just, math and science came easy to me, and I was going to go to Michigan.
Okay.
My entire life. And then Michigan Tech just kind of fell in my lap, like a lot of things do. I went up there and I just fell in love. It's small classes, like you get to know people in the community really well, and it was tough. You had to study, you had to do your stuff, you know, you taught yourself out of a book sometimes because some professors aren't that great, but
Fair enough.
You learn also how to, I don't want to say be an adult, but how to focus on the what things that you want to and how to make those better. But on the flip side, if engineering is something you want to do, but you don't have the college path, or you don't want the college path, there's also those programs that companies like mine and others have, apprenticeship programs.
Sure.
And you earn while you learn. You go and you're hands-on. Because I know like 3 of my brothers are very hands-on, and I went straight into the workforce and loved it.
That's great.
I have a nephew that wanted to be an electrician, so he didn't really want to go to school. So he found a job with a local company here in Grand Rapids, and he's learning while he earns. And it's the best thing ever. Like, if I would have known, I probably would have still gone to college.
Yeah.
But like, I want the new generation to know that there's multiple different options to get you where you want to go.
I'm so glad that you brought up the fact that there's multiple different ways to get to the same ending position. So for myself, when I got a 4-year degree, I did 2 years of that in high school, so I got that for free. And then the other 2 years I did at Cleveland State University. I majored in political science. And one thing that always crosses my mind, because I wanted to be an attorney, so I was going for political science to be an attorney. One thing that crosses my mind, I was like, if I never got into manufacturing, if I never got into manufacturing for 1, and then 2, didn't do those 2 years for free in high school, I would be in debt out the wazoo, you know, with a political science degree, which what am I going to do with, right? Like, how am I going to make enough money that's going to cover these crazy student loans? And so I have a lot of friends that are in that position, or a lot of kids that I coach cheerleading that come out of cheer and they do the same thing. And then, you know, it's such a stressful thing nowadays, such a burden for young people getting into a career. And I would just like for you to expand a little bit more on the different opportunities and what your advice would be to students who are like, no, I'm really feeling the pressure that I need to go to college, and how to kind of maybe get them to change their mind a little bit, to maybe take an option that's a little bit more financially less of a burden, but can get them to the same spot.
I also went to, well, it was a 5-year college.
But hey, you know what? All right.
But I knew that was going to be my path. But because I loved school, I loved what I did. I got some scholarships. I did come out of school with lots of debt, but I knew I was going to have a good job because I wanted to be an engineer. There is that real fear now with kids coming out of high school. Even in middle school, kids are starting to think about it as well, of what they want to do. I would recommend getting involved with your local community colleges, your local businesses, of what you might want to do, because there's programs out there, mainly apprenticeship programs, and it's called Earn While You Learn. Like, you go to work and you learn hands-on. They also pair that with community college class credits to get your bachelor's degree eventually in that whatever you want to do. So from day one, you're starting to learn what you want to do. You're not having to take those English classes and those other classes that you might not need or the electives, because it's tailored to what you want to go do. Sure. I have 3 brothers that went straight into what they wanted to do. I have a very large family. I have my first nephew graduated from college, and he went into an apprenticeship program because that's what he wanted to do. And I fully support if you want to go to college, but I also really, really support if there's an apprenticeship program out there. Yeah. And I encourage all my nieces and nephews, if they know what they want to do, come talk to me. We'll figure something out if college is not for you.
Well, and I think you kind of nailed it in the beginning when you said, I did go to college, but it's because I knew what my career path was. And I think what's really important about that statement is that, I mean, everybody hates talking about the reality of salaries and hourly wages, but like if you graduate with an engineering degree and you get into manufacturing, the probability of you being able to afford your degree is high. Yeah. You know, versus somebody like me, if I graduated with my political science degree and then never went to law school, how the heck was I going to pay for that? You know, like that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think that's kind of the part that's really important piece to kids deciding if they want to go to college is figuring out what they want to do, like you said, and then looking up, okay, can I afford this in the future? And then if not, looking at those apprenticeship programs, that might be a really great option for you. So that's great. And so aside from school, I loved everything that you got into, that was awesome. But now I want to talk about how you go about your daily job. Earlier when we spoke, I let you know, like, I'm from the HEH group and we sell machine tools, metrology equipment, and automation. And so like your company would be our customer. Yep. I think it's interesting sometimes to dive into like your mind, trying to determine what type of equipment are you guys going to get? How are you involved in that process? Is it based on customer orders coming in, or is it just you guys want to grow? So talk to us a little bit about that role that you play in your company.
Yep, I don't even want to say typical project because there's no typical project anymore. But say I get a part in and I know that we can stamp it, but we also have to add this weldment and this nut or whatever. I have to look at our portfolio of equipment and see if we have something. If we don't have something, I want to make sure that when I go and get a quote from an equipment supplier, that A, it's going to do what I want it to do, but B, I could also put extra stuff on there because your return on investment for one program, if it's not a high volume, is a little bit more, and it's hard to get, you know, approval for capital money and stuff like that. So I'm always looking for ways to combo projects. You know, you get the most bang for your buck and you're using the equipment. It's just not sitting on your floor. Besides 2 hours a week, it's going to make that part or that widget or whatever. I want to make sure that we can be flexible in using what we have. My main focus is on laser weld equipment. For my company or for my customer, they do a lot of laser welding, and we have a lot of design work to do actually with the parts, because in laser welding, not a lot of people know, but there is no filler material. It is just heating up. You could have filler material, yes, but all of ours are filler free, and you have to redesign the part to make sure that you have parent material that you can melt and fuse together. So when you get a part from a customer, you're like, yep, that'll work, but we need to add, you know, a little flange here or this little bit here so we can melt that down to fuse it together. So I work with actually mostly local suppliers now. We're trying to keep things local to get new equipment for that right now, or new fixtures that already have to go on a weld cell type of thing. And there's something new every day that we just... Honestly, I start Googling if I don't know. If somebody doesn't know, we start Googling, or I call, you know, so-and-so down the road and be like, what do you think about this? And they're like, well, this, I would do this, this, and this. And then I get opinions from different things, and then I try to put together the best plan that I can and then present it to the group. And it'll change 4 times, but, you know, that is what it is with manufacturing. You figure out what you might need, and then it takes a veer to the left, and you end up probably 2 miles down the road.
That's so funny. Such a good analogy. I love that.
But it's fun because it is something new every day.
What about manufacturing, and specifically, I mean, you said that you do a lot of stuff in welding. What part of that, you know, really fascinates you to keep wanting to show up to work every day and be passionate about what you do? I know we talked about kind of the reward after the fact.
Yeah. I think it is that, because like I can see where this part's going. I can see what it's doing, and it's a like... Because I was in prototype first before I had this position. Okay. So we were working on prototype parts and stuff like that. And that program in particular, I got to see it launch into production, and then you get to see it, being hit out in these huge 1,500-ton presses.
Wow.
And the parts are as big as this table, and you're like, that's cool, I helped with that.
Yeah.
Then the next time you're standing in a Meijer parking lot or a gas station parking lot, and you look over while you're pumping gas, and you're like, I made that part.
That's
and
awesome.
like you can just see it, and like I get kind of giddy.
I can tell. I'm feeling the passion through. I'm like, oh, I love it.
I will tell you a weird story, but the first time I saw a part of mine was in the Meijer parking lot, and I turned it over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I made that. Like, and I actually got my phone out and like was kind of underneath the truck taking a picture.
Oh, how cool.
The truck driver came out, and he looked at me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I made that part. And he's like, oh, okay. And immediately I text all my coworkers. I'm like, look, I found one in the wild.
Oh, cool. In the wild.
It's a passion to see what you're actually touching, feeling, doing come to life.
I think it's really awesome to hear you talk about it, because people don't make that connection. They just think things like show up, like your phone just shows up, or this table just shows up, or your glasses, or the little dental drills in your mouth, or like you're saying, stuff that goes on cars. It's like, no, this stuff is actually manufactured. Yeah. People love SpaceX, and they love Tesla, and they love all these, brands that they know, Apple even, but they don't realize that those are manufacturing brands. So I'm really glad that you really talked about the passion behind it. I think that's super important. And to kind of just wrap up here, I'd really love to hear more about kind of your goals as a woman in manufacturing. I know you're a part of Women in Manufacturing as a hobby. So want to tell us about how you got into that and what your role with there is? Yeah. So Women in Manufacturing, I fell into it too, just like everything else in my life. We are a national trade association. I am the vice chair for the National Trade Association this year. I am the past chair for the local women's chapter here in West Michigan. And we just bring people together is what I like to say. We put on conferences and speaker series and stuff like that on a national level, but on the local level we do plant tours, speakers, panel discussions, networking, and it encompasses everybody from EP to the shop floor. Like our local chapter here, our leadership group, we have a CFO, and then we have me as an engineer, we have people in purchasing, we have people in marketing, and we just all come together and network. I've met some, I would call them really good friends through this. And then that's on the local level. On a national level, you meet even more really cool ladies that are in manufacturing, and they have the same like passion that I do for things. It's just so cool. Like I just at a conference last week for our chapter conference, and I sat next to a lady from northern Wisconsin, and she loves engineering just as much as I do. Oh,
it was so
fantastic.
Cool. Women Manufacturing is here to support, promote, and inspire women to take that next step in their career, or even start their career in manufacturing. We're here, we have membership, but we also invite non-members to join us at everything. I don't think I've never been doing a members only thing, but
like that doesn't
exist, I don't think. I have so much passion for it because it has helped me grow both personally and professionally. My network, my leadership skills and abilities, it just shows me that there's others out there just like me. Because yes, at PNC we do have a lot of women that I work with every day. In manufacturing, there's not a lot of us.
It's still small.
It's still very small, but we're getting there with the numbers. I hate to say it again, but support, promote, and inspire the next generation as well to get into manufacturing.
That's such a great way to close this interview out, because I don't think you could have said that any better. Any words to any young women out there that want to get into the industry? Just do it. Find somebody that's in it and talk to them about it, because I think they will inspire you to actually go and do it. You can do anything from marketing, purchasing, HR, all of it. We need all of it to function as a company. You got me so excited about engineering. I think I'm going to go apply at some local, I don't even know, apprenticeship. It's fun. Something to figure out. I'm like, this is so exciting. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you guys for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more AME interviews with some awesome women in manufacturing. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.